Defence is now front and centre of the election campaign, with the coalition promising to increase military spending by $21 billion by 2030. Fresh from being named the winner of last night's third Leaders' Debate by a panel of 3 journalists, Peter Dutton has pledged to lift defence spending to 2.5% of GDP. That is well above Labor's promise. For more on this, we have our political reporters joining us now. Evelyn Manfield is in Perth, where she's following the opposition leader, and Olivia Casely is live for us at Parliament House there. So let's go to you first, Evelyn. Take us through the defence pitch that we've had from the opposition leader.
This is a major announcement, Gemma, by Liberal leader Peter Dutton, and he'll make it here in Western Australia today, a promise to boost defence spending by $21 billion over the next 5 years. As a share of GDP, that would be 2.5% over the next 5 years, up from the current share of GDP, that's at about 2%. Now, for comparison, in terms of defence spending, Labor is promising that it would spend at 2.3% of GDP on defence by the early 2030s. So lots of numbers for people to process there. But the Liberal Party was asked today about exactly what it would spend this extra money on. It says that it would go towards things like recruiting and retaining defence personnel. We know that's been a problem for the ADF, but also boosting the number of F-35 fighter jets that Australia has access to as well, which is something they've already proposed. Now, worth mentioning in the context of all this that the Trump administration has been calling on Australia to boost its share of defence spending as well. But a big question that arises, of course, is where all this money will come from. The Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume was asked that on News Breakfast this morning.
We do understand that we need to invest more in Australia's national security. When we have Chinese warships off our shores, firing in the vicinity of civilian aircraft, when we have our own servicemen and women being put at risk by lasers, by sonars, and yet this Prime Minister has done so little, his response has been so weak in the face of that, we do know that we need to do more.
It's hard to question you about this because we don't know when you're going to put these costings out, and we could go over them. Are we talking by the end of this week, early next week, the day before the people go to vote? Like, when should we...
It will be soon, I can assure you of that. It will be very soon.
Okay.
So no specific date there from Jane Hume about exactly when these costings would come out. Of course, we're very much heading towards the pointy end of this campaign, though. We know hundreds of thousands of Australians have already voted. They did that when early voting opened yesterday. But from the Coalition's perspective, they say there's no greater priority than keeping Australians safe. Defence Minister, though, Richard Marles, was asked about this new promise from the Coalition this morning and was quick to also question where the money would come from.
I just don't think you can trust the Liberals when it comes to anything they say in respect of defence. And, you know, they've been in, over the last 3 years, the best they can come up with at this moment is a vague number. There are some reports that the 2.5% is a target. There is no explanation of how they're paying for this, where the money's coming from, nor really is there any explanation of what the money is being spent on. And this is entirely consistent with what the Liberals did when they were in government.
Now, we're expecting Liberal leader Peter Dutton to officially make this announcement here in WA alongside his Shadow Defence Minister Andrew Hastie, and really what it'll do today is set up a big fight on defence.
Thanks, Evelyn. Let's go to Parliament House now with Olivia Casely. Olivia, Peter Dutton won last night's debate by a nose. What did you make of it?
I'll just go first to the fact I just spoke to the Australian Electoral Commission, and they have confirmed that more than 500,000 Australians have already cast their ballots in pre-polling. This means really that the window of opportunity for both the opposition leader and Prime Minister to really win over undecided voters is closing very quickly. And perhaps that's why we saw such a fiery tone to the third Leaders' Debate last night. They were quizzed by 3 political journalists who were really asking them why this campaign has been particularly flat, but also will the economy actually turn around? Will Australians start to feel better when it comes to the cost of living on whoever wins government? When it comes to the key political flashpoints, Anthony Albanese did appear to rule out any future changes to negative gearing or capital gains tax, no doubt to cauterise any potential coalition attacks on that front in this sort of final portion of the election campaign. It was interesting, though, the key flashpoint did appear to be around a past budget, that being the 2014 budget handed down by former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, and especially cuts around health and education. We did see a pretty fierce exchange between the two leaders that went not just to costings but to character, and on that second point we did see Peter Dutton branding Anthony Albanese a liar.
You ripped $80 billion out of those 2 items in 2014.
Prime Minister, you couldn't lie straight in bed, honestly. This is unbelievable.
You can go to abuse.
No, well, it's just the reality. You can go to personal abuse. That's a sign of desperation, Peter, frankly. As he's lying.
That's a sign of desperation. Go to the 2014 budget papers. People can do that online. It's all available for all to see.
Olivia, what's the Prime Minister up to today?
Well, where he's headed is anyone's best guess on the magical mystery tour that is the federal election campaign. We do know, though, that he is on a plane at the moment, and we're expecting a doorstop or a press conference around midday. Ultimately, though, Labor today will be highlighting a new policy announcement, and that is a $78 million plan to boost qualifications for tradies. And a big part of this is essentially boosting the construction workforce so that more homes can be built. Labor has previously pledged to build 1.2 million homes over the next 5 years. So this announcement dovetails with that. As we know, over the course of the campaign, housing affordability in particular has been a foundational issue for both sides of politics.